Hello and a warm welcome to you wherever it is you joining us from around the world. It is Enterprise Morning on Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. In a bit, we'll be going to our newspaper headlines to see what we have for you this morning, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. So while we get everything all sorted out for you, please do visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Like, comment respectfully, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. With me today in the studios to do justice to our newspaper reviews today is Barrister Tunji Abdul Hamid. He is a barrister at law and a public affairs commentator. And also joining him, also with us in the studio, is Cyril Abaku, a journalist and also a public affairs commentator. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And
Good morning. Thank you very much.
To Enterprise Morning.
Hey, after.
Yes, very true. All right, so let's quickly start off our newspaper reviews today, but particularly I would love us to take a deep dive on a very trendy story and making rounds in on social media, the new media, and of course the traditional media. And it is about Tinubu sleeping over at the Democracy Day event. And it states here, according to Premium Times, that President Bola Tinubu slipped and fell over at Eagle Square, Abuja, during the celebration of Democracy Day in the Nigerian capital. Mr. Tinubu, 72, fell while climbing the steps to an official vehicle that was to take him round the Eagle Square. He was helped back to his feet and continued with the celebration. And after that, the social media platform was set agog with people neither here or there and doing lots of comment. But let's have a say from our guests on what they feel about this particular story. Barrister Tunji Abdul Hamid, you watched the viral video, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw it.
So what do you think about that?
I believe it's a normal, it's natural. After all, it's a message to the president that, look, you are not God. You are a woman as well. You can also fall. So falling by anybody, whether a president, whether an old man or young man, or whatever you are, is not abnormal. It's not something that should be new. The only thing that is making it a news is that it has to do with the president. You know, even the president is trying to cough while the proceeding is going on, that will make news. So the president should understand that, because I see the handlers of the president reacting to issue are trying to justify the fall of Mr. President. Nobody is doing anything against Mr. President. Nobody is making a meal of it for the president, and they should not. In fact, I believe that the responses from the media officers of the president and the action of the president thereafter are the reasons why it's looking like it's not a debate to an extent because of that. You know, you see some people after the incident, so many people responded to it, and for instance, His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar sent a message, I sympathize with my friend with the president and this and that.
But don't you think that was ironic?
And he ended by saying, "Hope all is well." It's normal.
Hope all is well. Hope it wasn't ironic.
No, hope all is well. I hope you are okay.
I've also seen headlines
Because
interpreting that to mean that he was taking a supplement. I hope all is well with him.
Because you see, the president make it so. Because today now the president make it look like what happened during the campaign was deliberate. You know, during the campaign, the president was making look like he is having an issue with his health that is very struggling. He was making look to the extent that the president will be making statement that you don't even understand what he was saying. And immediately after the campaign and after the election, everything become normal. So it make it look so. So people were thinking the president is not fit to, and whenever anything happens like that, they will be suspicious of I hope it's not that serious. And again, even if it's not, let's even forget the past. And let's say if such a thing happen, you must say, okay, all is well. I think I sent a similar message to somebody this morning. I said, I didn't hear them. I said, okay. I was in the studio, I was supposed to go this morning. And then I didn't hear their call. I didn't see them. And I said, all is well. You know, so then because of when you have something you are expecting before, or when you have grudges, whatever step I take, no matter how genuine that step is, you will interpret it as trying to, in any event, also the handlers of the president, even the president himself, they play politics with all issues. And that's why they see everything, every concern, every opinion raised, they see it as an antagonist position, and they want to that you want to run them down for you to gain benefits. So they want to attack and then they defend it, and that was why the president now have to come up and say and start uploading the pictures of presidents that have fallen before. Nobody is saying it's abnormal for anyone to fall. Anybody can fall, no, irrespective of your age. And the president came there after the night and say, that's why I said that probably sometimes the president, even if he has a serious issue, we may not even take it serious. But he came and say, early in the morning, I staggered, and then they were doing this and that, and he ended by saying, as a Yoruba boy that he is, the ballet. That was not the ballet, the ballet. That is not deceive us. The president fell, maybe because of the agbada, or maybe because of the step or something. Yes, it happened. Anybody, it can happen to anybody. So the president telling me he was celebrating democracy by doing the ballet. That would not be
correct at all.
Correct. That would be just trying to make a meal of it.
All right.
So for me, there's nothing bad in there's nothing abnormal in somebody falling, whether president or anything. But anything happens, the president should know, like I said again, anything that happened to a president, or whether happened from the corridor of the president, whether no matter how small it is a news.
Yes,
very true. Now, Surya Baku, coming from what Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid did say, Nigeria got its presidential system of government from America, and it's every day looking like everything we are going through is exactly what's happening in the United States of America. President Joe Biden is 80 plus. His rival, Donald Trump, is equally like Atiku, the fracas between Tinubu and Atiku. Biden has fallen quite a bit political fracas. All right. So, but Donald Trump has taken a strong, jab at Joe Biden because of the issue. And right now we're having a similar issue. Atiku equally taking the same stand. I don't know. Do you think, just like Barrister Tunji did say, that the position of the handlers of the president always coming to defend is good enough PR for the president at this time? Because of course it equally happens in the United States of America.
Well, even the president's own personal response to the matter, we can pick nuances. I'm not an obedient. I just love my country. I'm a nationalist when it comes to Nigerian affairs. Even so, a black nationalist, but from a Nigerian point of view. If you read Peter Obi's response and see the president's response and even Atiku's response, in my opinion, it was Peter Obi who sort of gave a more presidential and humane. He said, this could have happened to any of us. And that's the simple truth. The president coming out acknowledge and say, well, I tripped and we all saw what happened, but it's fine. It's okay. Did you see what he said? I had a swagger. Come on, that was not a swagger. There's no need to quote, it's not everything you try to quote. And there's no need for it. This obsession with propaganda and spinning and that was a spin. What's a spin? A spin is when something has happened. You now try to spin it a different way so that the public, it was not necessary. Of course, I was not expecting them from an image maker's point of view to use the word fall. They should never use the word. And as far as I see, they didn't use the word fall. The president said, I had a swagger. And they are confused. Do you mean, like I told you, I'm not an obedient, I'm a nationalist. So if as a nationalist, I am sincerely concerned by the way for my president, he fell and the president is saying that I was confused. Because as I said, they are confused whether I was doing Buga or Babariga. What does that mean? You're my president. If you treat and fail, you have my sympathy, you have my prayers. Why would you say they were confused? What does it mean? And they were confused. And I was watching. Like Baza Tunja, look, Joe Biden fell, right? He won't be the only person. Prime Minister, let's say presidents fall routinely. Presidents have health challenges. Okay? What's his name? The Cuban revolutionary, Fidel Castro, fell several times. He fell, he kept up until he could no longer lead. He had to hand power to his brother, Raul Castro. The point in it is this. When Castro had health challenge, they even said that they did a surgery to take away some cancerous intestines from his body. Our president goes to do routine medical checks. You will never know what he's done with. You will never know. Number two is the fact that you see, The real reason people make a mindset of what's going on with the president is not even so much because he tripped. If you went back to check the way the APC used to treat issues when they're in opposition, is the reason people are even those who normally should look and just look away will say, Shebi no na turn now. How does it feel wearing the same shoes? I recall when Jonathan's wife went to Dubai, she was planning to go, she went to buy some things and came to shop and come back. The APC made the minds meet. It was on the headlines, they were shouting everywhere. Their own president's wife, Buhari's wife, went to leave. She didn't go to shop. Firstly, they left the country. I went to reside in Dubai. Nobody said anything about it. You see, those who live in glass houses, or those who later live in glass houses, should be very careful not to throw stones. Because if you did it, will come back to haunt you. So for me, the president treat and fair. There's nothing big. I mean, he's not my age. Okay? But it is one, their penchant to turn everything, to make everything look like somebody's after us. And then number two, what they did when they were in opposition is what I feel is come back to haunt them when they're in power. They know how well they exploited the freedom of speech.
And the social media.
And social media, they know how they to the fullest. That is why anytime you want to, anybody send on Twitter, they are very apprehensive, they are very, it ought not to be so, sir. You have a country to govern. No, thank God, thankfully, okay? I'm not sure anybody has even given thanks. Thank God that it didn't get worse. That there was no physical, whatever it is, mutilation or injury. We are grateful for that. He's our president. Let me tell you this. In Abacha, when Abacha passed, it was later we got to know that there could have been crisis, which thankfully was averted. They said Southwesterners didn't support Obasanjo. Do you know that on the eve of either he's swearing in or before or after he was said they won the election, there was propaganda. It was a lie. They lied that Obasanjo had been killed. The Southwest almost burned. You get what I'm saying? So don't think that if Tinubu is not doing well now, he should leave that place. If he left that place today, everything will get that. It's because that's the opinion of someone who doesn't understand history. He is president today. Whether we like his policies or not, the secondary. He's our president. And we owe him prayers, we owe him honor, we owe him, a measure of loyalty, and we don't know nothing bad happens to him. When he has said this term and he is good to God, God says he should leave that place, he will leave. But don't make it look about the guy. They were confused. I was not confused though. You're my president.
So the president is making look, like you said, when you have done something before,
yes,
and you know the impact of that
yes,
they have done, because they know that what they did worked very well for them.
It did,
including the June 12, June 12, the subsidy removal protests and all those
yes
things they did. And that's why they are wary whenever similar issues to come up, because they know the impact of those things on the Jonathan's government and other
yes
government. And
yes,
even though I know the kind of propaganda they made even in my state against Dr. Bukola Saraki and some other things. I know
yes,
the kind of propaganda at today, those things are still being on ground.
They took Otoge to Kwara. Then when they brought Otoge to Lagos, they took so mighty force to
you see the statement by the president that they were confused. In fact, he said it's social media. So they see everybody on social media as anti-government. So yeah, and they forget that, look, the democracy that we are talking about is about everybody giving his own opinion, and it's not, and that those in government are not God, and they don't know it all. That their citizens have the responsibility of holding government to account. And when you raise issue or ask questions, we are all working towards good governance. Some people are confused because they see patriotism as supporting every policy of government. Me, I don't believe so. Patriotism includes criticizing and raising concern about government policy, just like what Obi and Ajatiku and other people are doing today, just like we are doing as well. So it's not about hatred for the government. It's about us believing in our looking at a way our system can be enlarged or even improved. I am not an activist. For those who don't know, I'm a concerned Nigerian.
Yeah.
So it's an active politician.
Yes, it's my right. It is my right, and I'm fighting for it.
Very well. All right, so let's now move on to our next Delhi. Of course, this is not the first time the South Sudanese president, who had prostate cancer, once urinated on himself, while he was giving an address, and it wasn't a big deal. And I think it's very important we equally should not see the sleep of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a big deal equally. Now, let's move on to the Punch newspaper. The big story here says minimum wage federal government warns of mass sacking as Labour disowns agreement. And the writer there says unrealistic minimum wage will cause job losses, minister tells Labour. On the top strip of the same newspaper, federal government demands a refund from 10 billion naira NIPP investment. Federal government also threatens to punish schools shunning safety guidelines and end hunger protests seek end to economic and hardship. On the bottom strip of the same newspaper, we have it Ondo man nabbed with 8 skulls, human parts. So let's get into the big story here. Minimum wage. Federal government wants of mass sacking as Labour disowns agreement. Unrealistic minimum wage will cause job losses, minister tells Labour. How true is this, Cyril Abaku?
That what specifically, please?
That unrealistic minimum wage, all right, will cause job losses, minister is telling Labour.
No, I just feel that the conversation on minimum wage has been reduced to minimum wage alone. And the fact that the federal government is dragging its feet, pussyfooting about the whole matter, and Labour too hasn't really looked like a serious force to compel government to do what is right. I don't see why 250 and 62. Well, far apart, but looks like a middle road is more possible now than ever. It could be 100, it could be 150, it could be anything above 100. I still wonder why up until now we're still and Labour said the other day that they've ruled out anything that has to do with industrial action. So what are they now hanging their hopes on? What are they really hanging their hopes on? Nigerians are suffering. Okay, things are not getting any better. Now minimum wage is still at 30. Some governors are not even paying. Can we, in all sincerity, face the facts as they are? If government is saying that they cannot pay minimum wage at that amount without people going home from their jobs, the question is, the conversation around cost of governance is not on Labour, it's on government. It is government that needs to reduce the number of aircraft in the president's fleet. It is government that needs to sit down and think of how to reduce the humongous emoluments that they are paying to lawmakers.
But those are minuscule if you compare them to the total budget of paying Labour. They are saying that if they would pay the agreed sum by Labour, that the government will be spending about 9 trillion naira. Now compare that to the very infinitesimal issues that you're mentioning here.
Such as the cars so if the Senate alone is budgeting cars alone, cars, not maintenance. You know there's monthly maintenance. Cars alone at like 9 billion, 10 billion, 20 something billion naira for cars alone. See where I'm going. The what you pay workers is one thing, right? But the cost of governance, what the few of them, how many senators, maybe 360 in all senators and the head. Then the presidency, the amount of money they consume in a month, in a quarter, in a year is by far, you see, minimum wage is not that 9 trillion he's talking about. They will still have to discuss it. It's not 9 trillion, is based on 250 or how much exactly. Let's come to the realistic sum first of all, before we know what that stands in comparison to any other thing. So without concluding on the sum, you are preferring to propaganda out there. It doesn't pay. I think they should spend the energy discussing how much when they reach an agreeable amount, then they can know what.
But Tunji Abdul Hamid, the reason I'm particular about this question is you are an active politician. Amongst the 360 senators and House of Reps, only 3 rejected the SUVs that were given to them. Now, do you really think? Yes. Do you really think that if all of this sum that we all keep mentioning about as the reason why the federal government cannot, pay for the minimum, do you think it is realistic enough to say because it is the right of these reps and the senators to get what is due them? Do you think that is enough excuse for Labour to say they must be paid the minimum wage?
Of course, because we are all Nigerians, and we all own Nigerians. There's nobody, no one is bigger than any other person. We are all equal, and we all should be equal. So if you are talking about the rep being having that right to collect this. The labor should also say, look, we also have the right to ask for this and collect this, because if you can take care of certain people, you must also think about us. So the issue of the people who lose job or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, it's just a blackmail to get what they are looking for. The 60,000 naira is not. It may not be. It's not. What's it called? It's not a good minimum wage in the circumstances that we have. Yes, I agree that unrealistic minimum wage may cause issues, but that does not mean the end result that they'll be looking at is about workers sacking of workers, because it means they have fixed their mind into that area, or those are the area they think they will move people to say don't go there. So the issue is this: there are so many ways of cutting costs. It's not only about reducing what's it called, or sacking workers. Let them look at those areas, and those are the areas you just mentioned that government. That when we have large cabinets that we have not had before, you don't adjust and find a way of accommodating them. So if we're not talking about 600,000 per minimum wage here, we're not saying they should be paid 600,000 or whatever, but something reasonable. Reasonable for me would be 150, 200. That would be reasonable for me, and the government should be able to do it. What they need to do is to cut all those unreasonable costs that they're spending on their personal.
Exactly.
life.
And if I may just add before we go on this, government, you see, you can't be too strategic and detailed enough. I'll give an example. I always say that from Bagada to around mile 2, wherever it is, they've poured concrete on the road. They didn't tie it anymore, just concrete. The road is smooth. People are riding on it. It has cut travel time and reduced cost of travel. Okay, good. So in spite of the increase in fuel price, whatever the drivers are having, just little, because they factor in a lot of things. Why don't we approach? So in light of all of this discussion about minimum wage and another thing government needs to spend money on, what make Lagos Calabar Coastal Road a priority? What they should do? There's
bringing a supplementary bill for that now.
There is Lafarge, there's Dangote, there are all the cement companies. You can even go to China and make cement companies say, we'll give you tax credit for the next 10 years. Come and, what's it called? Come and fix all the roads in Nigeria.
That's what they did to Dangote for the.
Yes, now, so that even if you agree 200,000 naira with as minimum wage today, in the next 1 year, you can cut it down. And labor won't complain because roads are now being fixed. Okay? The same thing, because by Nigerian law, correct me if I'm not, by Nigerian law, any investor that comes to invest in a solution-driven self-economy will have tax holiday for some time. MTN enjoyed it when they came. When the country is in need and you come in as an investor, even when they were talking about the blue, Uchoga was Minister of State.
There are specified areas.
Areas, right? Okay, when Uchoga was Minister for Solid, but I mean, we can always walk around it. So the fact that we are debating, that was it's not about minimum wage, no wage. We are burning energy on unimportant things.
I just told you that issue of sacking of workers is a blackmail to get the results. And it's not as if they can. It's a blackmail as far as I'm concerned. Right. Because as it is now, they're not even thinking. It shows that if at all, it's not a blackmail. It shows that they're not even thinking about another means of taking it off. And I tell you, no government, they will not sack anybody.
Very true. All right. So yes. All right. So quickly, just before we wrap up for the segment, we'll take our last daily in a beat. The Guardian newspaper, the big story: Nigerian unity cannot be traded. With your support, I won't fall, and that's coming from Tinubu. But particularly, I'd love us to take in 30 seconds each. Nigeria requires new constitution urgently, and that's coming from Peter Obi. Do you think we need a new constitution at this time?
Because my position has been that this law. Just like Elijah Sani said yesterday, said the constitution will not bring unity, will not bring brotherhood. National anthem will not bring brotherhood or love or whatever they call it. What will bring it is equity,
freedom,
justice,
equity, and justice. Yes.
Those are things that. So for me, I don't always believe that the conscience are a problem. This law as it is today, I'm not saying it's perfect. It's not perfect. There are areas that are not good in it. But even if we have a perfect constitution and we are behaving the way we are behaving, we are acting the way we are acting, we are doing whatever they are doing, that those in political class are the ones benefiting the dividend of democracy. There is no amount of constitution you can change that will change anything. What we need to do is to change our attitude and ensure that, everybody that has the opportunity to be in government to realize that, I am here for service. And the welfare of the people should be my priority. Right. And when these people are talking about should not be my political class, and it should be generality of Nigerians. So until that is there, you like change the constitution from A to Z and change everything completely brand new. There is nothing will change. I'm not saying it's not needed. We can from time to time amend to meet our demand. But if look at the electoral act last time, we have a good electoral act in a way, starting like, to an extent. What happened to it? All right.
You see, because the corrupt will of man will corrupt anything in churches.
Okay.
Even if we have a good constitution, look at the laws during the presidential petition, election petition. In 2019 and 2023, we saw people who just willingly and gladly undermined the law, circumvented it, scattered it, and gave us whatever it was they thought was the right outcome. And there's nothing we can do about it. So I agree with him. But the beginning point has to be laws. Again, because we must have a brand new constitution. Then the president must be the one to begin. If you notice in the First Republic, though we talk about of it more in the negative sense. You remember first is the coach and that long cloth behind him. When you look at the cabinet, see Ajawanchuku, there was some measure at making sure that everybody found expression in what he saw on TV. So if you look at the federal cabinet, it's as if somebody that presented you was there. There's a sense in which the majoritarianism of Nigerian politics plays that. Look at the president, all those around him.
Are you saying we don't have federal character in our system?
No, we do, but that is serious.
Are we following it?
We are not.
Is there anything in our law that says so? The law, the federal character was put in place to ensure that's what local government economy that we're fighting today. It's in the constitution.
So that's are we following that, you see. First, let that be law, of course, because you can't have anarchy and prosper. So but then there must be a leader who is willing to galvanize and mobilize Nigerians around the common cause. It's not there. What stops us that yesterday? Look at the president unveiling why wasn't the portrait of Amika Abiola and all the heroes just of himself? It doesn't work that way. There must be, you must give Nigerians something to really believe in that is beyond themselves. And when all of us want to rally and run towards it, or based on merit, you don't have to preach unity. It will come.
Very true. All right, so that's just about the time we have for our first segment today. That's the newspaper reviews. I'd love to say thank you to Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid for being part of our show, and Cyril Abaku for being part of our show also. And I would love to promise you that they will be around to take us also on our main conversation for today. When we return, hunger protest as Nigeria marks 25th anniversary of return to democracy. And just to let you know that Chinua Igwe Odu will also be joining us on the segment. Please don't go anywhere.